Okay, you know how to install Ansible. If you don't know, it's so simple. Just with apt install Ansible command, you can install it on Ubuntu operating system or other Linux distributions. But when you install it, you can check the version, so you will know that if it is installed or not with the command Ansible version. And I should say that we need Git because we have a repository, as you can see in this configuration, and all YAML files, we have all YAML files in Git repository, as you can see the link here, so you can git clone the repository with the command, as you can see here. Okay, and when you change your directory to part 3, we will have some files for configurations related to Ansible, but the YAML files I mean. But you know that with Ansible we have a Ansible host file, as you can see here, and with routers and switches you can configure Ansible host file. So it's so important because with the name, for instance, R1 switch 1, we just configure routers and switches in different category that we have. But what is very important is that host file that we have is so important too, because with the names, routers and switches that we have, all IP addresses in host etc host file, we should configure it too in real environments. Maybe you are using DNS, or if you're not using DNS, obviously you can configure the IP addresses related to your router and switch in etc host file on your Ubuntu operating system Ansible host that you have. So there's no problem with the connectivity. So from here, if you ping, for instance, router 1 or switch 1, you should have the connectivity first all, okay? And then what is important is that with Ansible files, we have a different category for routers and switches, and obviously secret, that's YAML file like this with the username and password and authentication password. So with just Ansible host and secret file that we have, we can configure networks, Cisco networks and routers and switches with Ansible YAML files. As we can see here, we have a simple YAML file like arp, and let's see with this file arp.yaml. Okay, with hosts, routers and switches, as you can see here, first of all, the task is to obtain information from secrets.yaml file, username and password, and then define a provider like this, as you can see here, the provider Ansible host and username password. Ansible host is related to Ansible host file that we have. So if we are going to configure routers or switches, from here we can type maybe router 1 or routers and switches like this, depending on your configuration you have. So with the username and password that we have in the secret file, we can obtain username and password, and just a simple task here just to verify, and iOS command, as you can see here, the provider is the configuration that you have here. Okay, and the command is just show ARP on routers and switches, and to register that, and the variable, as you can see here, for debugging it shows the variable results. So let's see how it works just as an example. Okay, and here with the command Ansible playbook, you know that with Ansible playbook and a -i inventory Ansible hosts and the YAML file, we can play Ansible books like this arp.yaml file. So from here, if you just type Ansible playbook inventory and arp.yaml file like this, you will see that first of all, connection with router 1 to switches that we have, and define provider, as you can see here, but the task is to just check ARP table. Okay, so on all routers and switches, as you can see here, we get information related to ARP and IP addresses, MAC addresses like this. This is just to see that how it works, and we have connectivity with routers and switches from Ansible or not, and as you can see, it's successful and there is no problem.